Very cool. So super excited to be here, guys. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Walter Contreras. I had an idea with my team about Saturdays. Saturdays is one of those days where perhaps you had a crazy week and you're in your office trying to catch up with things. So I was I always come in Saturday mornings in my home office and spend a little time to reflect on the week. And my name is Walter Contreras. For those of you who don't know me, I am the creator of Binox MSP, which we'll talk a little bit about today. But this isn't a Binox commercial. It's more about talking about managed services, which I still run and operate our managed services in New York. Fun fact, yesterday we had an earthquake here in New York, and it was just not fun at all. But people got very nervous about it. So reason why I'm here is because I feel that there's a lot of things we need to talk about in the managed service world. And I'm going to start a series of videos in which I speak more openly about the experiences that we're going through in our managed services. A big part of our journey has been we've been around for like 12 years, and we had gone through many iterations of growth. I can tell you that the greatest one has been the last couple of years. We had an exponentially fast growth last couple of years, adding almost $1 million worth of MRR per year, and it's been a crazy journey. I end the weeks trying to figure out how the hell did we get here, onboarding 5, 6 customers a week, and it's just insanity. But what I want to share with you guys are, number one, my experiences. Number two, what the reason behind creating Binox was, and truly how you can save a ton of time in growing your MSP. I speak to hundreds of MSPs, literally hundreds, and the biggest challenges that I hear, in my personal opinion, is the fact that we have been conditioned, just like anything else in our lives, to believe something, to believe that there's only X amount of customers you can get, there's only X amount of customers you can onboard. And I'm here to tell you that you're going to write your own destiny here. You're going to write your own story. And what I mean by that is that, your journey will be very different than other people. However, I want you to believe that there's a lot more you could do with the resources that you have right now. So I want to talk a little bit about Binox because, quite frankly, I find myself onboarding 5 customers a week, 5 brand new managed service customers a week, going, how the hell do people do this without something like Binox? And I don't want you to, of course, I'm here to talk about it, but I want you to look at me from the perspective of a managed service provider who's still the only, I want to use that word carefully because I'm not the only salesperson at Motiva. We have about 8 people that help me with sales, but I'm still the only person that interviews those prospects, for new customers. Those conversations are not lengthy. The investment of time per customer for me has been somewhere around an hour. That's my average of my involvement, me personally, from the moment I had the first conversation, whether it's on a Zoom, which 99% of them are happening on Zoom, or whether it is in person. That's a 15, 20-minute call to literally walk them through my process. We have a defined 4-step process in our managed services for our sales process, which I'll talk a little bit about during these series. And then the second process, which is reading out assessments and things like that. And so my total investment of time, it's an hour to 2 hours the most. So if you think about it from an investment, hey Eric, I'm always working, man. I love this stuff. And if you think about it from the investment of time, and you have all these people behind you helping you, you can come up with a tremendous operating machine to just create sales. And that's what I want to teach you. I want to teach you what I'm doing. I don't want to tell you a story of somebody, uh, that has never sold a managed service agreement in their lives. I want to tell you the story of the people who are literally on the phone, me, with somebody in the morning, and the person says, "Oh yeah, you know what? Come over," and I drive over. I do my presentation, and a week later, they're a customer. I want to tell you that story, and I want to tell you why I use Binox and why I created it, because I found no tool in the market that could do this for me. Maybe you using other tool. I really, honestly, I will be completely transparent with you. I have used, I think I had the most scar tissue of any managed service provider testing CRMs. I spend hundreds of thousands, and I'm being 100% transparent, trying to get things like Infusionsoft or HubSpot or Pipedrive to work for me, and it just never worked. So I got really pissed about it. That's just the God honest truth. And so I'm going to walk you through my process. It's a lengthy process. I don't think we'll get through all of it, but I just want you to have an idea about. I want you to have this idea about how big, how fast, how much you could grow as a managed service provider. Okay, so what I'm sharing here is our CRM. So Binox is a tool that combines three pieces right now, and we're going to get into a fourth one. But the three that we do extremely well is, one, we are a lead generation tool. So think of Zoom Info, but not 30,000 a year, right? And we have compare our data to Zoom Info, and we win all the time, because there's a lot of things on these lead tools that are just, for me, not really helpful to the managed service provider. But that's just my personal opinion. The the data that I'm going to show you, it's purely humanly verified data. Of course, I always tell people, look, you got to do some work, right? Like, maybe looking at it and just verifying the data is not a bad idea, but we'll go through that. And then the other thing is CRM, right? So what's a CRM? We spend endless amount of time thinking about how to position the CRM, and I'm going to show you some things that I wonder, I myself, I'm going through deals, so many deals a day that I myself go through and say, how are people doing this? Like, even just to send a proposal from your quoting tool, whatever you're using, you're going to have to go and copy and paste. So like in Connect Why Sell, you can send the email from directly from Sell, right? On the auto porter thing. But the truth is, like, sometimes there are people in that organization that are two, three decision makers or influencers that need to be on that proposal. So now you have to go copy and paste Outlook and all. The amount of time, and this is why we fail, in my opinion, at being more effective in a sales process, because we're wasting so much time on what I think is the simplest things, but are actually the ones that get you closer to convert those prospects. So let's go through that a little bit. Okay, we'll talk about CRM, and then lastly, marketing. I love marketing. I'm a student of marketing. I admire marketing, like Robin Robbins and things like that. I'm extremely grateful for the opportunity to have learned so much there. I was a member of the group. But I honestly want to show you marketing that I have defined and found that it works extremely effective, and it just works for us over and over. And sometimes is non-traditional, right? Like, I don't really care that much if somebody goes to my website. I know I'm gonna get a lot of beef for this, and I'm happy to debate anybody on this subject. I know a lot of marketing companies focus on, oh, you gotta have the greatest SEOs and land. I don't believe that. In fact, every time I get a lead from Google and they come to our website, I kind of cringe a little bit, because I'm taken away from, 12 meetings that I have for prospects that we have defined as our ideal client profile. And now I got to go focus on a guy that's just basically price shopping, right? Or has a big problem. So I don't believe in that. And maybe that's why we're, and I'll show you my numbers in a little bit, but maybe that's why last quarter we put a little over 40,000. Let me see if I find it, of MRR, net new MRR. This is just net new MRR. But let's talk about that too, because I want you guys to be in that discussion and truly see the difference there, right? What data, what movements in marketing really make a difference for you, not for the rest of the planet, not for the other people, but for you, and how you can win with that. So with that being said, and by the way, marketing, right? There are things we make so simplistic in Binox, like sending a postcard. We have a whole postcard mechanism in there. And I'll show you how to do that, by the way, where you can send postcards to people, add a phone call to your appointment setter or to yourself, and send an email to the person all in the sequence so you have that ready to go. I'll walk you through that a little bit. Again, there's so much to talk about, but I want to give you the most important principles that I obey by and how I drive my MSP in New York. The first thing that I want you to think about all the time is focus. And by focus, I mean, who is your ideal client? I know when we start, we kind of need to get whoever we can. And I'm, believe me, I've been the guy driving through the Long Island Expressway, eating a sandwich in the car and, sleeping under a bridge in Manhattan, waiting for somebody to open their office at 4 a.m. so I can go and reboot that server. I've been there, right? But at some point, the level of maturity has to change. Like what you are focusing on has to change. And so finding that ideal client, that type of industry is probably the most important thing that you have to define. It took me a long time to I started working with insurance. I work with a ton of independent insurance agencies and mortgage companies. And I started working at an insurance agency about, my daughter's 24. So yeah, about 20 something years ago. And that's kind of where I got my feet wet with insurance. But I was just not really paying attention to it up until the last few years. I would say the last 4 at least, where I said to myself, you know what? This is an industry we know so much about. We're really the best in our area for it. We're now serving customers from Maine to Louisiana. And I'm super proud of the work we've done. But what we've done, and by the way, that expansion of territory from just Long Island, where I live, and just New York, really came from the fact that I now have Binox. I can source any list anywhere. So let me just go through it. And I'll show you a little bit about how you can identify your ideal client. And I do a ton of these, by the way, webinars and seminars. You can follow me on YouTube. You can follow me on Insta. We're going to be posting a ton of these things. And I'm going to be posting invitations to webinars that we're doing just about getting more focus on each one of these topics. But, the first one that I care about a lot is, how do you find that data, right? And I know I get the debates. So I got Seamless, Walter. I got, all these other tools. Great, use them, right? But the point is that define who is that perfect customer for you. So in Binox, you could actually look by company and you can look by contact too. So some of you, like me, for example, I'm not moving into what we don't call it co-manage IT, because quite frankly, I don't know if I'm going to co-manage, right? I had a guy that just hired me for $10,000 a month to do CISO work. I don't know if that's co-manage. I mean, label it whatever you want, but how I found that guy is by looking by contact and by selecting his title and by doing a similar search of what I'm showing you right now. Call it what you want, but to me, it's two ways to look at it. You're looking for a company, right? If you're looking for small businesses, 25 and under, 50 and under, sure, go by company because you're going to see the contacts. You can pick and choose who you want. Sometimes they don't even have an IT department. So, and those are the ones we focus the most. But you can look by contact and get more specific about the searches. So I'm doing a search here in my territory, and I'm selecting insurance, by the way, and I'm saying, go find me 25 to 100, companies, and we give you a map view of this thing, and so you can see where those leads are, but also you could actually see the company. And if you click on an empty space, we give you a ton of info without you paying for it. Meaning, we're going to tell you the NIC code, NAICS codes, and SIC codes, which, for those of you who don't know, that's just an identifier that the government has for these type of industries. I want to make sure. Give me 1 second. I want to make sure you guys are seeing my thing. Hold on. Cool. Sorry about that. So, yep, we're seeing it now. So, like I said, this is the map view of Binox, so you can see where those leads are located on the map. However, if you go through these companies, we give you a ton of info, right? So you had the NIC code, the SIC code, and the whole point of that was, when I was talking to my team, I said, look, guys, people don't have to buy leads all the time. Why don't we give them some information so they can go and search by those NIC codes, which, FYI, you can paste that here on Binox, so they can find more companies that are similar to that. But just to give you an idea, I'm going to click here under this particular company. And notice how we have 43 contacts, and 5 of them are humanly verified. Now, if the company has humanly verified data, that's always my go-to, because again, it's humanly verified every 90 days. The data is better. As you can see here, we even tell you that we're going to give you LinkedIn profiles, email addresses, phone numbers. All of that comes with a humanly verified. Not all of them have it, but most of them do, right? When you click on an empty space, we still give you a ton of more information on that lead, even without you buying it, right? And you can build your list. We'll talk about lists, because Binox, you can select this, create your list, start cleaning your list, putting them in, save them into Binox, and then move them over to marketing. You can do a ton of stuff. But for this demo, I'm just going to show you that I'm going to take this person. Let's say this is the person that I've selected that I want to market, start, going after it, start sending them some information, maybe make some phone calls, things like that. And if you notice, this person here, I have a ton of information on them. So when they come into the CRM, and I'll just show you somebody real quick. So all that information, flows into the CRM itself. So things like their LinkedIn profiles, their website address, right? Everything gets loaded up into Binox, and information about the company, all that stuff flows into the CRM. So we make that very simple for you to go find the person you're looking for, the ideal client, and then open it up on the CRM. Now, our CRM is a little bit different than a lot of other CRMs. And the biggest thing is, when I was designing some of these screens with my team, I said, look, guys, the biggest problem all MSPs have is that we don't have time. We're troubleshooting tickets. We're hustling, right? So I want to be able to give them whatever tool they need out of the box without having to go and recreate the wheel. So what we do with our CRM, because you have all this data, right? Emails, mobile numbers, all of that, we have a built-in phone dialer. And by the way, you can select your own caller ID. That's a new feature in our phone dialer. which is phenomenal for me because I honestly I work out of my mobile phone a lot. Um, I don't make a lot of phone calls. I might make like 20 or 30 phone calls a day. And all of those are prospects for me. So I am strategically using my mobile number. If somebody calls me, it's a deal I'm working on. Right. So I definitely wanted to come to my mobile, but you can take that off and receive it on the computer, whatever you want. But the whole point is that we have a phone dialer built in. Reason being is, you know what? I don't want to stop the flow. I'm just gonna call this guy, right? I'm just gonna call this guy. And so we have email, right? I mean, yes, almost every CRM has email templates. Yes, you can template anything you want in Binox. You can send them information about your company, what you do. You can schedule it for tomorrow. So if you, like me, working at 8 p.m. at night, that's not an effective email at 8 p.m. So I schedule it for 8 a.m. the next day. That's something so intentional in Binox that it makes it super easy for people. And yes, of course you have email, but you also have video mail. I cannot begin to tell you how many times I have templated one of my marketing emails, right? And I create a video of myself. Hey, John, my name is Walter. I'm looking forward to meeting with you and speaking with you on our Zoom call, blah, blah, blah. Boom, I sent that video. It is so powerful, right? And yeah, there are many tools that have this, but is it that integrated? Is it that easy to do? No, this is complex. You're gonna have to go get another tool or another whatever. And so we make things for sales and moving you forward toward that relationship, because that's what managed services is. It's a relationship sale faster. That's what we want, right? If you have permission to send text, which I normally ask for permission after I have my couple few meetings with them or they become a customer, you can even send SMS text right from within Binox. And that to me is, I had a guy that I couldn't get on the phone. I don't know. He went cold. We did the risk assessment. We did the readout. I sent him the proposal. He was ready to rock and roll. And he says to me, "Walt, I'm gonna prove it in." That was Wednesday. He said, "By Friday, you should have it in your mailbox." I said, "No problem, great." And then he went completely cold, and I was emailing him. I was leaving him voicemails and all of that. And one day I said to myself, "You know what? I was going on vacation, and I'm boarding a plane, and I'm like, you know what? Let me just send this guy a text." I sent him a text. Little did you know, within a minute, I had that proposal approved. He said to me, "Your emails have been going to junk," which happens, right? I mean, sure, you may want to talk about, oh, Walter, you didn't set up your DKIM or whatever. No, it's going to happen. Stuff happens. So having the ability to do more things and to reach that person, to me, is how I hustle. That's why we got all these deals, because we're hustling, right? And I want you guys to hustle, and I want you guys to have the tool to hustle. I don't know if you can do that right now in your CRM. Um, Meetings, we do this from a dialer. I'm going to show you our dialer in a second. Is going to, like, your head is going to explode, because we click a button, we make the call. All of this is available on the dialer. So the meeting, selecting whatever platform you want, by the way, we integrate with Zoom, Teams, whatever, right? And setting up that meeting here, showing it to you in Binox as a meeting, it's such a visual representation of what's happening to that opportunity. All these tools, including tasks, I'm notorious for adding tasks to my team members, because you know what? I get a guy, he doesn't show up in the Zoom. I'm not calling that guy. That's an appointment setter job, right? So my time is invested in front of prospects, not making those appointments. And if you're blessed enough to have somebody to do that, add them that task. Go call this person. We will change the stage to needs to reschedule, right? And go. That's their column in the CRM to go hunt. So, but those are the little details that to me are the biggest details, right? So, and if you guys, I see Eric is posting on Facebook. If you guys have questions, just post them on the chat. I'm going to try to answer them as I go. I'm happy to show other stuff while I'm here. This particular prospect, I actually already proposed to them. What you see here, it's our integration with ConnectWise Sell and ConnectWise Manage. So I am a managed partner, and I use Sell and Manage in our business. So I'm going to show you a little bit about opportunities. So now we went from finding the person, we're now working to meet them and providing them maybe a proposal and things like that. So when you bring a lead into Binox and you create an opportunity, it automatically, we have a deep integration with ConnectWise Manage, Autotask, and Synchro. And what it does is it creates the opportunity, the contact, and the company. So what you see here, these will be this will be an example one. In Manage is going to create that automatically, right? So it'll have like a company contact and the opportunity, and it'll also create it, obviously, because it's in Binox, it'll be already in Binox. So the beautiful thing is that we had that deep integration with ConnectWise. And so now, because I use Sell for quoting, we'll talk about quoting soon because we'll be doing quoting ourselves. But now I can just start hitting this button here and quote. When I quote and I'm at products and services and all of that, that's where Binox shines, because all those products and services do come into the CRM, right? So I'll show you right here. These are the products that I'm proposing to this gentleman. And then our deep integration with Sell will not only give you the ability to edit that quote right from here, but it'll also give you some margins and numbers that it's very visual to you to see if this prospect it's a profitable or not prospect. So we have a super deep integration with Sell. We have a super deep integration with Manage, and this is where I tell you that it separates from other things, because in reality, those little things, those little details are the ones that make it different. So I'll show you one that drives me absolutely crazy from Sell, right? So let me just find an opportunity here and I'll show you what I mean. First of all, one of the slowest systems on the planet, right? So I'm just gonna, I don't know, just pick anybody. But by the way, one day I'll get into how Carla and I work. Carla's from my team, and she basically prepares me every single quote for me to just, the templates are set up so we just go super fast. I think we're doing about 7 or 8 proposals a day or more, and that's not counting inside sales. So Carla just gets all the stuff ready for me. She's awesome. And we work together. But here's an example of something that takes forever, right? You're in Sell. Mr. Roger here, he also has another person that's a decision maker. So now I have to go find that person. Maybe I had him in my Outlook, maybe I have him in my Connect, but I don't have an ability here to just drop down the menu and send this to somebody else. I'll have to go copy and paste. I wasted, another 10 seconds, add 10 seconds to your day. By the end of the day, you wasted maybe 60 minutes. By the end of the week, you lost 3 hours, right? By the end of the year, who knows, maybe you should have been fishing with your children. That's what I want you to think about, right? Those tiny little things. So in Binox, we actually built our own prepare and send. We said, you know what, we already talked to Sell. Let's just get this crap. And when you hit next year, you could actually, because this company has already associated contacts that are within the company, you could just drop down the menu for the other person. And now you send the quote. And also, I normally will send a video explaining how to approve the proposal. 2 clicks, boom, send. Deals on the table. This is much faster conversion because of the fact that everything is in front of them. Everybody that's a decision maker got it, right? Everybody that's gonna collaborate in the decision making process of a managed service agreement, which takes time, which takes more than one person. You just made it easier. I just don't know where you guys can do this kind of stuff. And if you guys want to debate me on this time thing, I don't see the argument, because it's all about time saving and using your time uh, more productive, right? Let's see if there's any questions on that. And I'm only seeing Facebook. I'm sorry, this is my first time doing this, but in the future we'll have some help on all the channels. And um, so that's opportunities, right? And the other thing about opportunities is, as you can see here, I have some red stuff, blue stuff, right? And you're probably wondering, like, what the hell is that, Walter? Well, this is our opportunity pipeline, okay? Which in essence matches your ConnectWise pipelines, right? So all these statuses in ConnectWise are by default, automatically, without you doing anything, matched inside of Binox. So when you have an opportunity in a specific status in manage, it's gonna go into that status in that pipeline in Binox. So an example here will be that I have 10 people reviewing proposals right now, right? These two, and this is what we call our card system. Phenomenal system, because it gives you a ton of information without you clicking or looking. I wanted those busy MSP owners to come and say, oh shoot, what do I got on my pipeline today, right? They might be so busy that they don't have a lot of time to go here. So you can visually see your pipeline, unlike other CRMs, right? And now you can see margins, money, right? You can see what type of labels. And one important thing, which for me, the most work we've been doing the last year is on activities. And I may have to sit down for this one, because activities for me are just where you win. If you want to win in life, is activity, 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 activity. And that, I think, is the reason why managed service providers don't win as much as we should, because we're so busy closing tickets, dealing with customers, that activities become an afterthought, right? So I have been obsessed with how to provide you with better ways to follow up on those activities. Because I notice with us, like when we are on top of those activities, we win big. So I want to walk you through that activity process. And please pay attention, because this could be the difference where you start to win big. And then how to drive that to your team, which is the other thing for me. Like, okay, I know how to do this, but I need to replicate it, right? So what you see here, these red things on our car system, is going to indicate, and it's going to populate to the top when you have missed an activity. So in the case of Mr. Shipper, I actually missed this activity because it was for yesterday at 10 a.m. So the system is intelligent enough that will tell you, hey, you missed this, right? So, but it's very visual. You can get more details if you click in the card system, obviously, all the way from information to where they're located, and tons of hashtags and all that stuff that a normal CRM will do. But the biggest thing for me is, like, how do we deal with activities? So we built an activity screen. Now, what I try to teach my team is that all you have to really do is set up your first activity. So if we're doing a marketing campaign, which I'll show you in a second, our campaigns are the same, right? It's always a postcard first. It takes about 5 days to get there. Then there's an email. Then is 2 days, a day later is a phone call, right? And then that phone call, it's assigned as a task in the campaign. Why do we do that? Well, we do that because once the first task is here, right? And let's say you see, by the way, this is our activity screen. So we train our appointment setters, our follow-up people to come to activities and start clicking this button. That's all they need to know, right? I mean, yes, they can look at the opportunity, they can look at the contact, they can look at the phone numbers, they can see who is assigned, they can see all of that immediately. They don't have to go dig through it. But the biggest thing we teach them is like, click this button. Because when you click it, first of all, it's gonna ask you which number, so you're gonna call. Now, I'm gonna hang up here because that's a real call. But a couple of things here on this doc, okay? The first thing you saw there was that I had a button that says drop mailbox, a voicemail. That's a new feature in Binox. Our dialer can now drop a voicemail, one that you can record, one that could be uploaded. We're having a lot of fun with that, by the way. We had a Darth Vader voicemail that it was crazy because people were curious enough to call us back. We were just messing around, but I'm not recommending to do that, but I'm saying like you can get creative with voicemails. And I don't believe on tricking people to call you back, by the way. That's people are way too smart in 2024 to fall for BS crap. The more honest you are in sales, the better, the more deals you'll convert. But so that was one of the things. The other thing is here that when you can put a note. So right on the dialer, the appointment setter, or whoever, even you. By the way, I do this all day long. This is where I go. This is why I'm showing you this, because this is where I go, right? So when I go here and I put my note, I called whomever, right? Left VM, whatever. By the way, all of these activities are also posting on your PSA. So it's a bi-directional sync with ConnectWise. So when I do this and I hit save, by the way, I can even select my next phone call date here. Let's say I want to call them on the 8th at 10 a.m. I can say that I spoke to a DM, a decision maker. I can say that I left a voicemail, right? I can, if they ask me to remove them, I can remove them. When I hit save here, it's going to prompt me for my next activity. And this is the key to winning in activities, right? Because we do one, but we don't know how to follow up the next one. So our system is going to force you or the appointment setter to create the next activity. By the way, because I put the 8th, it already did it here. And just FYI, we templated this. There's a template system for activities in Binox that you could just drop this thing, this drop-down menu, and say call to follow up. And it writes everything you need on that activity. So you don't have to wait. This is milliseconds. Boom, I make the phone call. Boom, I make the activity, hit save. That activity now is saved on that person for Monday. And because of that, when I come on Monday, I'm going to have those activities showing up on here. That's activities. Simple. I love activities. I feel that we will be doing double the amount of business if I was way better with activity. That's why the obsession with activities comes from. And then how do you track them, right? Well, we have a reporting system in which you can see those activities per member, right? So what type of phone calls they made, did they schedule a meeting, how many tasks did they have? So there's a whole bunch of, and you can narrow this down per person or, per days, whatever, right? So default is a week. But and that's like, and this is Abby's one of our appointment setters. So this is like, her activities in Binox. So things like that is where it makes a big difference for us. The other thing I want to quickly touch on marketing, just so you know a little bit, and then we're gonna call it. We're gonna finish. We're gonna wrap it up. I'm a little over time, but I feel that this is really important to you guys. So I just want to kind of give you an idea. So the way we think about marketing is quite simple. There are 3 types of marketing things, in my opinion, that you need to do. One, you got your day-to-day. I'm responding to Timmy. I mean, I template the crap out of everything. I I do a lot of templating, a lot of emails that I respond to. Even my appointment setters use emails that, they just select the drop down and boom. Then I think about marketing templates, meaning a whole campaign that is predefined. That maybe, an example will be what we did last week. We went to a trade show for insurance agencies in Connecticut, and I'm going this weekend. Also tomorrow, we're leaving to another one. I do a lot of shows, and I'm gonna be doing some of these uh, talks about how we do these things. But for now, that will be a perfect example. So we went to this show, we collected cards, we did all that. Um, what we do is we start a new campaign, right? So we'll do a new campaign, and in Binox, before I go here, there are templates, right? So there's marketing templates that you could use. We're putting out one a week, one every 2 weeks. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. But when you can select any of these templates for events, blog posts, all kinds of stuff. And we also had direct mail. So an example of direct mail, I got some here. Give me a second. So there are two types of direct mail we're doing right now. One is these postcards. You could actually do this directly inside of Binox, and they go out of Binox, when they're going out and all of that. And then we also have a letter. You can create a letter, put a very customized envelope and stuff like that, and that's all done within your list that you built in Binox or something you uploaded. We don't really care if you buy it from us or not. Like if you want to bring your list, I just highly recommend that you scrub it and clean it, because when you start doing postcards or direct mail, you're really going to need that to be clean, because the system will say, that's not a good address. And we do have an address verification system built into Binox. But all of that, I feel like I need to really go over it. And perhaps I'm not the best person at the marketing creation, but I do have a marketing team that will be doing one of these calls with me where you can see how we do it. And if you want to demo Binox, just go to our website, binoxmsp.com, and the team is happy to give you a demo. But so the other one is direct mail, obviously, right? So when I'm in marketing campaigns and I click on new campaign, I can start one from scratch, but I could also select some sort of a campaign, right? So we call this our master managed services campaign. And, I'm just going to give it a name here. I am in a test environment, so please don't hold me to this. But just so you guys know, you can choose our template, which what Binox really does is, what Binox does is it just builds it for you, right? Like this is basically what Binox did is, we have this incredible drag and drop system, right? I feel like sometimes you need like these experts to set up marketing campaigns. In Binox, you don't. You really don't. I mean, we're happy to help you set it up ourselves, but you really don't. And so this drag and drop system allows you to, for example, in this case, drop a hashtag, right? So you can come here and say, you know what, insurance, whatever, right? And then as you meet that condition, you maybe want to wait a day for whatever the next thing is, right? So in this case is an email, but you could also drop a postcard in here. But just to give you an example, everything in our system is templated, right? Like you have these templates, you can come and change if you want. You can go and create your new ones, whatever you want. Okay. So the whole idea here is that it's done for you. You can change it, or you can create one from scratch, which to me is super simple, right? You come here, you do a new campaign, you start from scratch. It could be a very simple campaign. Like, and when I mean simple, I'm talking about a guy that says to you, or a gal that says to you, you know what, I'm just not ready right now. Can you call me next week? Boom, that's my next week campaign, right? So next week is going to send him a reminder email, maybe a Zoom invite, a task will be assigned to me. That's a campaign, right? That's a campaign because I could just create a hashtag of, I don't know, not ready, right? And then I do a condition to wait maybe a day or so, or a week in this case, right? Call me next week. So I'll wait 1 week, right? I'd say, you know what, do it during the weekday at the first thing at 9 a.m., whatever, right? I'm just putting whatever here. And then at that point, send them an email. And the email could be something you already had templated, right? Like remind me later, right? And then you hit save. And then what you do here, maybe you add a condition to wait another day before you call them again, right? And then you just add an action to call them. So you just did this yourself. You don't, and you launch it. And now all you have to do is whenever you have that person call me in the week, add them to this not ready hash. Just go to the record and put here not ready, and that person will get it. I'm not gonna do it to Barry because I'm still closing that deal. But just that's it. That's it. I'm going way over time here, guys. I'm gonna be just follow me on the social medias. I'm gonna be doing a ton of these things. I do feel that this is helpful. I don't want you guys to think that this is purely a Binox commercial because it isn't. I just gave you a ton of tips that you can try to replicate on your CRM, and I use the word try because good luck. A little sarcasm there. But no, I'm just being honest with you guys. This isn't for me. Of course, I want you to test out the tool. Of course, I want you to ask for a demo because I do believe that when you do that, you're going to do incredible in your managed services. So thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate the time on a Saturday. This will be recorded, so I'm going to keep playing it throughout the week. And like I said, we're doing a ton of webinars on these topics. We go very deep on these things. If you want a demo of Binox, just go to binoxmsp.com. You could actually test drive it right on the website. It's a really cool site, because you could actually see what I just showed you yourself. And if you want a demo, Stanley and the team will be happy to do that. So thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. Spend some time with your family. God bless you. Thank you.